Well, good morning. How are you all today? Welcome to Integrative Preparedness, where we talk about preparedness in a positive way, how to get better, how to improve your life. Well, getting ready to withstand the slings and arrows of whatever this crazy world might bring us, right? And survive the great collapse if it comes, but also bettering our lives today. And that's what I want to talk about today. I have a great comment that I want to read from one of our patrons over on Patreon, and it's in response to one I did the other day. I think about preppers and money, something like that, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to bring that up in a moment. It is Sunday morning, and it's raining outside, and which I don't mind because we're getting the planting beds ready, and we need the rain, and every little bit helps, right? So Sunday morning, and it reminds me every time I sit down to make a video or do something on a Sunday, for some reason I am reminded of a story that my first pastor, the one who baptized me, so long ago. He was a great minister. He was a minister of a very, very large Methodist church who left that denomination over a moral issue with the church. The church was starting to go in kind of a wrong direction at the time, and he got crosswise of the bishop and left. And then my family and a couple of other families started a new church with him as the minister. And boy, he is one of those that occasionally people run across and compare everybody else to him, right? As a matter of fact, I talked one of the characters in my books, who is a minister, Cassius Street, who is actually this guy's actual name. I base on him, and he said that he was working on doing something in the front of his house one Sunday after church, in the afternoon, and one of his parishioners walked by. And back then everybody kind of lived around the church, in the city, and one of them said, Pastor, you're not supposed to be working on a Sunday. And and Dr. Street said, the better the day, the better the deed. So anyway, I always think about that. And before we get into this a little bit more, I want to remind you, since we were talking about my books, I want to remind you of our sponsor, and that is the Stonemont series. If you haven't read them and you're serious about preparing, or if you just love a great, SHTF post-apocalyptic story, I would suggest that this be the next thing you do. Yeah, they are my books. Let me get them back down here, get a better grip on them. It's the Stonemont series. I'm missing a few here because we just shipped them all out. We had a big run on these last week. Don't worry, I have a new shipment coming in really soon. But the reversion, the revival, the renewal, an appeal to heaven, the blessings of freedom, hostages to fortune, and the latest one on wings like eagles. I'm sorry I don't have copies of all of them to show you, but it's the complete story of a prepared family who, as a result of their preparedness, is able not just to continue living a high quality life after the collapse of everything, but help other people as well. And that's really what we should be doing. And then rebuilding community and all that. It's a great story. You'll learn more than you can imagine in it, and you can get it a couple of different ways if you haven't read them, or you can get them and to send to a friend if you have. A lot of people. I have one guy who has ordered like 12 sets of these books just to send to friends. But anyway, you can get them on Amazon, through Amazon. That link's down below. And through Amazon, you can either get them in paperback or Kindle or Audible. Or you can get them a better way, even a better way, and that's directly from me through our website, stonemont.us. That link is also down below. And when you do it that way, I love it when you do it that way, because I get to sign them for you and write a little note in there for you. And also, we're able to send you the whole set at a nice discount, because when we send it as a set, we save a lot in packaging and handling and postage and things like that, and then we pass that on to you. Plus, we throw in the Stonemont notebook for you, and I use mine all the time. Matter of fact, I'm about to use it on the next video I'm going to make. I don't need it on this one, but I'll do it on the next one. And you'll love that. So we throw that in for you. So that is our sponsor. And if you haven't read them, like I say, I think you'll love them, and you will learn more than you can imagine. the Stonemont series. Links are down below. Okay, let's get to the topic of the day. And I was reading through, I'm trying to catch up on the comments over the last few days. It's been a busy weekend. And one caught my eye. Well, they all catch my eye. I read every one of them, and I like every one of them. Well, occasionally. I won't get into that. But this comes from, and let me make sure. Yeah, this was Preppers and Money. My advice might surprise you. Yeah. And because, I have a tendency to think differently than a lot of people about these things, about money, about investment, about preparing. You know why that is? Because I've been doing this for 50 years, and I've paid attention, and I like to pass that on to you. Well, here's what KJ said this, and again, she's one of our patrons. If you're not with us on Patreon, I'll plug this too. The link to our Patreon channel is right below. You can come join us for $1 a month, and we have some great people over there. We really do. So KJ, she says, warning, lengthy post. Well, it really wasn't all that lengthy. And over there on Patreon, we have quite lengthy comments that I really enjoy reading, because we have some smart people over there. Okay, she said, got taxes done today, and I asked my accountant about side gig businesses, which I'm always pushing that. If you've been with me before, if you watched my Prepping and Money or Preppers and Money or whatever it was, you know that I'm always recommending and suggesting having a side gig, having several side gigs. Your success monetarily and your monetary success in your life is going to help your prepping. And too many people out there are talking, they think it's hard times and this and that and the other thing. I'll get back to that in a minute. But it's really up to you. And that's the message that I preach. It is up to you. The life you're living is the direct result of the decisions you've made up till now. You can, if you've made good decisions, your life's going great, keep at it, carry on, you're doing well. But if your life's not the way you want it and your preparedness isn't where you want it, take a look at those decisions you've made that brought you to this point and consider how you might do better, okay? So I'll get back to her. She says, I asked my accountant about side gig businesses. I really like her because she is so encouraging and positive about having side businesses. How about that? How about an encouraging and positive? Again, that's what we do here. We don't try to scare you to death. Oh no, this is happening and that's collapsing, and occasionally I'll talk about those things, but the whole purpose is you make your life what you want it to be. So she emphasized that it would really help my tax situation because I do work a full-time job, but have no deductions. Right, that's a killer. If you work a full-time job and you're a W-2 employee and you have no deductions, it's a killer. It's a killer. You will never get your tax situation in under control, and until you do that, you're never going to get your money under control. She says, so just like you said, I told her I'm starting a blog. Good for you. I think that just like you said went back there. Yeah. So I told her I'm starting a blog, and I also have ideas of products I could sell at a painted tree location, of which there are 3 of them located 1 to 2 hours from me. Excellent. I'm going to get back to that in just a second. She stated that the antique store next to her does the same thing. So let me stop there. And the reason that she's talking about this is that I told you how my wife has, I think she's up to 6 painted tree locations now. Painted Tree, if you're not familiar with them, it's a company. It's all around the country. They rent big stores, and then they put in booths, kind of like a antique store type of thing, but they're very nice. They are very nice places, and they have come to be the upscale places for especially women to shop. A lot of guys go there too, but anyway, so my wife is up to 6 booths in different cities, and she will go. She does things. She sublimates t-shirts and sweatshirts and makes jewelry. Does a lot of things, and car freshies, I don't remember all the things. I help her sometimes with it, but I don't remember what they all are. Okay, so let me get back to her. But so that's what she's talking about, painted tree. And it is a fantastic business to get into. If you can make something, or if you can buy things, wholesale or whatever, sell them through that's what it's really all about. And it's easy to do. They take care of everything for you. They take care of all the taxes, all the permits. You don't have to do anything except rent it from them and put your stuff in there. They keep track of everything, and then at the end of the month they send you a check. Okay. And antique stores also will do that. So that's what KJ is saying here. She also suggested content creation, which I'd considered just a little scary for me right now, to be candid. I understand that. The only reason that I started this channel was to talk about my books, and I don't know when I started this, back in 2017 or something like that. And it just kind of, it kind of grows. And public speaking is, and speaking in front of a camera is, I guess they say that public speaking is the number one fear among people. So I've always been a teacher and an instructor. Said that's never bothered me, but I know it does a lot of people, and I know a lot of people that I've tried to encourage to start their own channels, YouTube channels, because they would be great. They would be so much better than what I see on here in many places, and they just can't make themselves do it. And my oldest son is about to start one, which I'm very, very happy about, because this guy is like personality plus. Also, a while back, I commented I wanted to write a book, and you encouraged me, Steve, so thank you. I am on my second chapter currently. Excellent, KJ, congratulations. That is something. I'll tell you something else. I have known so many people who have great books in them, but they just can't sit down and get it on the paper. That's also a scary thing, right? Looking at a blank piece of paper and saying, what do I say, right? Where do I start? Well, I tell you, my advice is just start. Get at it. You're not going to be great the first few times, and then you're going to get better, hopefully. And, if you care about people, if you know what you're talking about, I almost said if you can present yourself well, but, maybe I do and maybe I don't. I don't know. There are a lot of people out there a lot more entertaining than I am, and their channels are really big, or they try to scare people if we're talking about preparedness, and that always sells. But if you know what you're talking about and if you care what you're doing, I think you're going to do fine, and probably you're going to come off a lot more likable than I do, right? So you should do fine. So good luck on your book. 2 chapters. People don't realize how much that takes to get a couple of chapters down, and you don't know it now. And you didn't tell me whether your book was fiction, nonfiction, whatever. But the more you get to going, inertia kind of takes over, and then the story just develops and develops. When I'm done with this, I'm getting back to working on my 8th book, and I can't wait because it's such a joy to write. After a while, it stops being a struggle and it becomes a joy, to the point to where I enjoy writing so much because I prefer the world that I'm writing about to the world that we live in now. And that's what so many people have said about the Stonemont series. I just read them over and over and over again. We have people who have read through the whole thing 5 times. They say because they like that world of Stonemont better than the world we're living in now. That's understandable, isn't it? So she says, I do have a question for you, and actually Kelly, that's my wife. How does she do the t-shirts as far as the transfers on them? My product idea would involve messages on said products, and I don't know how to go about it. Thanks for reading all this. Well, you're very welcome, KJ. It wasn't all that long at all. And I will answer you that question. Kelly's not here right now, but when I see her, I will ask. I will answer that question to your comment on Patreon, okay? The reason that I wanted to read this is that this KJ is doing something that I have always suggested, and that is better yourself. How to get ahead. It is up to you. I put up one yesterday. I put up a couple yesterday, and it was kind of getting on people who were always beating this poor me drum, right? Oh, life's terrible. Life's horrible. We're in a recession. and we're actually in a depression. And if you don't believe it, shame on you. and, and just trying to get people, in the downs. And none of it, that first off, we're not in a recession. We're not in a depression. There are ways to measure those things. And the people who try to tell you that, are, well, they don't know what they're talking about. But when it comes right down to it, what I tried to explain, which I did in those yesterday, whether you're suffering or not, or whether you're succeeding or suffering, it depends on you. It is all in your hands, under the guidance of the good Lord. And there will be too many people say, "Oh, no, it's bad. We can't get ahead." And all this. No, that's not. That's true for some people. It is, and there are some people who will never get ahead, and it's because of the way they think and the things that they do or don't do. And what they don't do is get up and take a look at the world, a good, honest look at the world, and say, "How can I better myself?" And of course, what that takes is taking a good, honest look at themselves, right? If you don't have a good, honest view of yourself, you're not going to understand the source of either your problems or your successes. And so that's where it starts. To accept, and I'll be making one either later today or tomorrow. It's going to be 5 steps to become more successful at your preparedness. And that's one of the very first things, is be honest. Be honest about the world, be honest about yourself. And I won't get into the 5 things right now, but it does all come down to that. If you want to increase the quality of your life, the quality of your preparedness, the first thing you have to do is accept responsibility for it. Okay? Stop thinking, if you do, don't think, let me put it this way, because that implies that you think of yourself this way. Don't think of yourself as a failure. Don't think of yourself as a victim of the world around you. The very basic tenet of preparedness is to insulate or protect yourself from the calamities of the world, right? The threats of the world. But too many people who watch these channels and, consider themselves even preppers, don't protect themselves from that very dangerous threat, and that is the thought that it's beyond their control, right? That it's a big, bad, scary world, and the economy is terrible, and this and that, and the government's whatever it is. And you prepare, or preppers prepare, PMPs, preparedness-minded people, have made it a part of their life, and they prepare even better. But the person who considers themselves a prepper takes measures that they think are going to help them survive or do better than all those people who don't. And yet, so often they fall into this net of negativity, and saying, well, the economy's bad, we're in a recession or a depression, and we're not. We are not. And there's just nothing that I can do. So you see how they're doing something about preparedness, but they're not doing anything about that one big threat, which is this constant message from so many people that, it's a bad situation. Your situation is what you make it. Okay, it might be good, it might be bad, but it is what you've made it, or what you've allowed it to become, either through actions or inactions. And that's what you need to address at the very beginning. KJ has done what I have suggested so often to so many people, and yet so few people do. She has gone out, she talked to her accountant, and her accountant kind of verified and encouraged her in what I'd already told her, and that is, yes, get out and get a bunch of side gigs going, not just one, a bunch of them. Diversified income streams. That's what I always preach. The more streams you have coming in, it's just like a lake. A big lake is filled up with a whole bunch of streams. one gets blocked off, it doesn't make a bit of difference to that lake, right? Because it's got a bunch more coming in. It's the same with income streams. And I tell you what, it's really a lot more fun to have a whole bunch of income streams because it keeps you, it just, very few people have one single interest. And the way that I find myself in businesses, so many that I've been, that I've had through the years, it's just something piques my interest. And so I go, oh, well, let me do something with that. Let me find out about it. And, darned if some of them don't turn into a business. And that's what KJ has done. She has got, and once you start a business, the tax write-offs that you get, you can't believe. You will start getting your financial house in order. You will. Just takes knowing, the legalities of the tax code, have a good accountant, and then do what the tax code says you can do. You don't have to cheat. You don't have to evade anything. Just be smart, and build your businesses. I had somebody, and like I said, the return on a business is the best return you can get. It beats. I won't say that it beats real estate. Properly done, real estate is as a goose that lays golden eggs. But it can also turn itself on its head. You have a lot more mobility when you have businesses of your own because you're able to kind of, bob and weave with the economy and, whether you need to change prices, raise them, lower them, whatever, market to different groups of people depending on what the economy is doing. And I won't get into that now. Just trust me, take my word for it. You can do it. Small side gigs, big side gigs grow from small side gigs and then very often grow into, a central gig. And all of a sudden, a few years down the road, you're doing so much better than you were. You wonder what happened. Well, what happened is you changed the way you were thinking. And you changed the decisions you were making. And all of a sudden now you're doing better in life and you're doing better with your preparedness. So that's my message of positivity and preparedness on this fine Sunday. I want to remind you again, if you want a whole message of positivity and preparedness, again, my books, the Stonemont series. Yes, I talk. It's a total collapse of everything, but the people, and like on the front of the reversion, it says, when the world collapsed, some were ready to start over. And there's something that I do say in here. I just remembered that it's in the very first chapter. And Jim Wyatt, the central character, got cut away from home, and he's headed home. He's found himself a bicycle, and he's headed home, and he's going through, headed out to where Stonemont is. That's where they live. And he's thinking about the past and how they were able to build what they have built in order to, prepare for a collapse. And I'm going to put you on pause for half a second, because I'm going to find there's one sentence in here that I want to read you that's going to say it all. And I'll be right back. You don't have to watch me search for it. I'll be right back. And here is the one sentence. He's thinking about his home that he's headed to, and how pleased he is to have reached that point. And he said this: he and Kelly, that's his wife, that's my wife. He and Kelly had worked hard and been smart with their money. So much of quality of life is tied up in that. Working hard and being smart with your money. Okay? So you all have a good day. And did I finish what I was telling you? I don't know if I did or not, because I got caught up in finding that one sentence. But if you haven't read them, you'll love them. You will love them, and you will learn so much from this. So the Stonemont series, links are down below. Get them from Amazon if you want to, or order them directly from me, which I like. I love that, because like I say, I get to sign them for you and write a little note in there, and then you can get the whole series, which is the way really that most people buy them, at a discount, and we send the Stonemont notebook, This started as a side gig for me. I was just writing a little short story, and it all of a sudden, a couple years later, that's how I make my living. I'm a writer. How about that? Okay. Hey, you all have a good day. Have a great day, as a matter of fact. Again, I'll leave you with one of my favorite verses, and that is, "This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice," or we will rejoice and be glad in it. You all have a great day. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.